Okay, so keep moving, whether you have Parkinson's or not. We all want to keep moving because that's how we stay alive. And these are things to know right now. I am Jo Rosen, the president and founder of Parkinson's Resource Organization, and it is with great pride but humbleness that I'm going to introduce you to a woman who has been wonderful to PRO and to me and to us. And she is the owner of Rehab Specialists, and Rehab Specialists is in Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, and Encino, California. We're also going to introduce you today to Katie Brockert, who happens to be a doctor of physical therapy at the Rehab Specialist Clinic, and she specializes in working with people with Parkinson's. So I say a humble hello and welcome to Gail Picalis and to Katie. Good morning to you, but to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your day with us today. And so for people with Parkinson's, movement is naturally critical. Anyone who's listened to these videos before, you've heard it over and over and over. You've heard about the big program, you've heard about the power program, etc. And I would like to thank Rehab Specialists, and in particular Katie, who's brought some really neat information to us about the two programs we just mentioned. But Gail, I'd like to know from you, we're still in the throes of COVID-19. Is there anything special that you'd like to say on how this is affecting Rehab Specialists or affecting the patients that come?
Yes, we are continuing to provide telehealth services for all of our patients who are unable to come into the office or feel insecure about coming into any kind of outpatient medical facility. All of our clinics are open now and under very strict supervision and conditions, following all of the OSHA guidelines, all of the necessary guidelines. But we are continuing to serve all of our patients, however it works for them.
That is terrific. You actually, I suppose in some instances, have to teach them how to use the technology, huh?
Well, yes, that's something Katie can address.
Yes, we're lucky enough to be offering in-person and telehealth visits, and yes, the technology can at first be very challenging, but the online system we're using is very user-friendly, and once people get the link and get the phone or the computer situated, we usually have no issues at all. So it's been an amazing resource to help us see the patients in their homes, address things like their balance, their posture, walking, all the things that they're having difficulty with.
We froze a little bit there, but we'll come back to you, Katie, when you unfreeze, because we're going to ask Gail a question that you can answer, Gail, while we're doing this.
Sure.
So we have caregivers that are involved. We have people with Parkinson's, and we have caregivers involved. Are you doing anything special to bring the caregivers into this telemedicine area or telehealth?
Yes, we always do. Even before we were doing telehealth, we absolutely involve the caretakers when they come in the clinic, in terms of letting them know not only are they there to support the individual, but there are things that they need to do so that they don't get over fatigued and exhausted. And certainly with the telehealth, giving them reminders, and Katie might give specifics, but giving them reminders about taking time out just for a walk, or breathing exercises, and different techniques to help them kind of through the long run.
I think we might add here, in addition to Katie being a doctor of physical therapy, you happen to be a physical therapist as well, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so you can address all of these issues, but you have these wonderful people on hand with you. Katie, are you in a position where you can add more now that you're unfrozen? We talk about freezing and Parkinson's, and here we go, and you freeze online with us, huh?
Oh, now she can't hear you.
Oh, she's okay. So we'll come back to her and as soon as if you hear us, Katie, just come on back in. So Tell us what you had to do in each of the facilities. What did you have to do to make it COVID compliant, if you will?
Well, we are, you know, every day or every week, we are checking, first of all, with all of the different specifications. But I mean, the very first thing is everything is pretty much going out online in terms of paperwork. So nobody has to come in and deal with paperwork. And we are first checking temperatures. We are social distancing for sure. We've taken, you know, a lot of the waiting room there is no basically waiting room. We've opened up other rooms for people who come in, if they come in early, to go in a separate room. We require masks and gloves, and we are disinfecting all the time, and always improving, actually, you know, changing our disinfecting methods and adding new things that are coming on the market that we're researching through the various hospitals. And
my phone, so now I can hear you.
Good, good. So then we're going to go back, and we talked about the caregiver area, and Gail answered that. But so let's go moving forward in that. We talk about freezing, and we saw you freeze in this video this morning, but that's not the kind of freezing we're talking about. So Katie, can you enlighten us on what freezing is and other issues, and what the big program is and what the power program is?
Absolutely. A very common symptom we see with our patients with Parkinson's is called freezing. It's a delay between the brain and the body. Most often we see it happen, it can happen in many different situations, but there usually tends to be a theme to it. So it could be changes in the textures of what we're walking on, so going from hardwood to carpet. It could be a door frame, going in through the door frame. There's something about those visual obstacles that—
And I'm just going to interrupt just a little bit and say, you know, if somebody goes to watch the film Awakenings, they get an idea of what that really means. And I'm sorry, Katie, but carry on. Okay.
Yes. And so it's so important to, again, address that, because it can be very debilitating. It also can lead to falls if we're stuck and can't get started again. So there are specific techniques that we can go over and see which one works for you, and so we can start implementing that immediately to prevent things like falls and things like freezing. There are two big Parkinson's specific exercise programs. One of them is a little bit more well known, which is the LSVT big program, and it is a exercise program specifically designed to address the issues that come with Parkinson's, slow movement, issues with posture, tremors, things of that nature. And so that program is a little bit more on the intense side, in that it is a 4 days a week, 4 weeks consecutively out of the year, or out of the month. And in order to do those, you have to adhere strictly to those guidelines in order to see the best results. You can use some of the moves with other things as well, but really
just
to get
going back and going over that, it's an hour a day, 4 days in a row, 4 weeks in a row, and that is a commitment that somebody needs to make to go through the big program.
Absolutely. If they're doing it strictly in accordance to how it was designed, yes, it is a very strict program.
Covered by insurance, I think, though, right?
I think so, yes. And so if that's something that you can commit to, then obviously that's a wonderful choice. But also we have something called the POWER program, which I am certified in, which is the evolution of the LSVT program. It's designed by the same team who created the original, and this one is a little bit more user-friendly in that it doesn't have a strict regimen like the LSVT program, and it's very adaptable, and you can change it to suit the person's specific issues, which is, I think, fantastic.
So, and I think if you haven't already done so, it's coming up where you have articles in our newsletter on the Power Program and on the Big Program. And we're so grateful for you for authoring those articles, Katie. It gives our audience another place to look when they're trying to educate themselves on things that are beneficial to them. Now, though, that we're at home with the COVID stuff going on, are there special things that you or Gail that you are helping with on an occupational therapy basis? Things that people need at home for balance and for, is that something that you're doing, Katie and Gail?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Gail.
I was going to say you can address the at home since you're seeing that daily.
Sure. So at home, what I've been doing with patients is, like I said, we have to be creative and use the things around us. It's not like when we're at the clinic and we have all the tools and fun little things that we can use. So usually what I'll do is I'll position them close to something solid like a kitchen counter or a sturdy table, or surround them with sturdy chairs, or if they use something like a walker, something so that they are safe and we can practice things like balance. But again, because I'm not physically there in order to, watch them and be close to them, we have to set up our environment in a way that's going to be most safe and beneficial for the patient. In the clinic, we might be using something like a foam pad that would challenge their balance, but at home we could use something like a pillow. We can use something like a cushion from the sofa, or roll up a yoga mat. Anything like that that's readily available to us. We try and utilize and try and get creative when it comes to balance in the telehealth setting.
I must say, Katie, anybody that would be your patient or your client has to be just so, your passion just exudes, and it is so nice to see. You talked about equipment that is that you would have it if somebody came to Rehab Specialists versus what's at home. And I'd love, Gail, you have a piece of equipment there in the Santa Monica that I think is so unique and so wonderful, the gyrotonic machine.
Yeah.
So what is that used for people with Parkinson's?
Yes, it is. And everybody, when they come in and see a gyrotonic machine, are like, what could that possibly be? And because it looks very like a medieval torture piece of equipment, but it is wonderful for increasing mobility, and especially in the upper body and the trunk and rotation, and gaining more mobility. And that's just, we have that in 2 of the offices, and we have many other pieces of equipment that we all use.
And other therapies, I think, that you have, like Pilates. Do you have Pilates?
Yes, we have Pilates equipment, the reformer, the trapeze table, in all of the offices. We also have a great piece of equipment, a body weight support system, which is wonderful, helping people increase their ability to balance and with their walking and gait, because they have the security of knowing that they're being supported. So that's wonderful. And one thing that we have in 2 of the offices is we have an indoor warm water pool. So aquatic therapy is just so valuable, and I could go on for hours on the value of the aquatic therapy, and hopefully at a later date maybe even do a special thing just on the use of that warm water pool, because
I would love that. I know
moving in water is a fantastic experience.
It is. Thank you. I know that from personal experiences with my late husband, but I know you have that in Encino and it's Santa Monica, right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
I think anybody that has anything wrong with them physically should come and see a rehab specialist. But I just think that all of you are so warm and welcoming and so caring about your clientele, your patients, and what you do to get them back into life and back on track. I cannot say enough about rehab specialists or about either of the 2 of you or any of the others that I've met along the way. I am so proud to know you and so humbled that you've been so gracious and great and good to us to host our meetings and to always be there when we call. Is there anything particular you'd like to add to our listening audience who happens to be all over the world today?
Katie, you.
Yes, I think the big thing you said in the beginning, Joe, about keep moving and how movement is really something that our body craves, especially in our patients with Parkinson's. And so find something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be power moves. It doesn't have to be boxing. It could be walking. Find something that you love to do that makes you happy. Put some great music on. Just get out there for 30 minutes a day. There's wonderful research on exercising consistently for 30 minutes a day and how much it changes your symptoms and just overall quality of life. So that's my big takeaway.
I love it so much. Gail?
And I think that's what we try to do as our physical therapists is provide experiences for different kinds of experiences that maybe no one has had a chance to try before, and find out that that's motivating and they want to incorporate that in their life. So I think that is the wonderful creative part that we would like to offer all of our clients.
That you do offer, and that's what makes you so special. I, again, am just so proud to know you. So for our listening audience, we want to invite any of you to pay attention to our village meetings, because these are wellness villagers that we're speaking to today. They will be in the village meeting. The meetings will go on all year except for 2 months in the summer. Well, we have a special meeting in July, a special village meeting, but otherwise we'll have no meeting in August, and we'll start again in September, when you will see Katie, you will see Gail if necessary, and anybody that you think you want to see, let us know on a physical therapy basis. But I can say that Rehab Specialists is a very special place with very special people. And that's why they are in the Wellness Village. They care so very much. We've had no complaints about you. And so for that, I thank you. Thank you for today. And I look forward to the articles in the newsletter, Katie. And thank you again just so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Opportunity.